All right, good evening. Welcome to Kaysville City's Planning Commission meeting. We're going to go ahead and get started. Commissioner Bullock comes in right now. Perfect timing. We'll go ahead and get things started for tonight, Thursday, September 14th. First order of business is approval of minutes from the meetings of August 10th and August 24th.
I move we approve the minutes from the meetings of August 10th and August 24th.
Second.
Aye.
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 Thanks. Next on the agenda, conditional use permit for major home occupation B contractor at 288 West, 350 South for Mr. Bill Day.
Mr. Day has a small contracting business, mostly doing waterproofing and caulking. He would like to have an office out of his home. Lyle's met with him on the site and reviewed the ordinance with him. He just has small equipment and supplies that he keeps in his garage or in his vehicle. It appears to meet all the stipulations of the home occupation for this type of business, so it's been recommended for approval. He's here tonight if you have any questions.
Good enough. Thanks, Andy. I guess we can open things up here to the commission. This looks pretty straightforward, though, so does anybody have any questions or comments, or do we want Mr. Day to come forward?
Just wanting to see who he is. Great, great.
All right, if we can get a motion then.
I'll move we grant a conditional use permit for major home occupation B contractor for Bill Day at 288 West, 350 South.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Good deal, very good.
Thank you.
Moving on, public hearing, number 3, public hearing and preliminary plat approval for Hilton Home subdivisions located at 289 North, 700 East for Mr. Todd Hilton.
Hilton's owned some family property up on 7th East, the property highlighted there on the map. They own just about a half an acre. Currently has one single-family dwelling on it. They would like to subdivide that into 3 lots, shown here on the preliminary plat. Existing home would be on lot 2, the new lot to the south, and one to the west. Property is currently zoned R18. The lots all conform to being 8,000 square feet or larger. In fact, they're all right close to 9,000 square feet. They meet the frontage and setback requirements for the existing homes. A reasonable buildable area on it. So we're ready to recommend a preliminary plat approval. Again, it's straightforward. The streets are improved. Just splitting the existing property into the 3 lots as shown.
All right, very good. Thanks, Andy. Let's see. So we have public hearing on this agenda item. We can go ahead and open up our public hearing to the public. If anyone here wishes to speak on this matter, can they come forward to the lectern? Once, twice. On that, we'll close our public hearing and we'll open it up here to the commission.
I'm probably preaching to the choir, which is just the applicant, but I think this is, I like to see this kind of infill, pseudo-infill development. So I think it looks fine to me, especially because it complies with the minimum standards, as the staff report says. So,
And I like the way that it's not really complicated with the super long driveways because they can get in and out right on 2 streets since it's corner lot.
I like the idea there's no flag lots.
Right.
That's very good in my estimation. So, all right, I guess with that, if we can get a motion to approve.
I'll move we recommend, preliminary plat approval for Hilton Home subdivision for Todd Hilton at 289 North, 700 East.
I second.
Aye.
Aye.
aye. Aye.
Aye.
Agenda item number 4 is a public hearing and amendment of the Kaysville City annexation policy plan. And we'll turn this over to Andy. He's got a little bit of dissertation to give to us, so.
We
Andy.
had some interest from some property owners to annex their property into Kaysville City. Under the state statute, before we can consider annexation of property, it has to be listed on what they call an annexation policy plan. Kaysville City's policy plan did not include the property being requested. So before we can proceed with any sort of annexation, we need to review that policy plan and determine if this property that we'd like to add to that. Up here on the screen is the map of the current annexation policy plan. The green areas that you can see are the areas that are currently unincorporated that the city has included in that annexation policy plan. That means that's the areas which we'd consider annexing if a valid petition would come. As you can see, the bulk of that area is in the Boynton Road vicinity. Other than that, there's a few minor pieces here and there. The piece that's of interest is up in the northeast corner of the city, just north of the Wilderness Park up there. It's the hashed area is highlighted. Got some property owners that would like to sell, some developers that would like to buy it and develop it. They've talked to Layton City and Kaysville City. Their preference would be to have it annexed into Kaysville. Layton, we've talked with Layton as well. They're somewhat reluctant to add it into their city. They've expressed no opposition to us adding it to our policy plan. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to take comment from affected entities. Affected entities being a defined term as generically those who have taxing authority. So it's cities, county, and special improvement districts primarily. We've heard from several of them. Most of them are saying we don't have a problem with you adding it to your plan or even annexing it. We just need to be kept informed as to how services will be provided. We don't have that answer yet. So tonight's real issue is just to take any comments from public entities as to whether this should be added to the annexation policy plan. This is not annexing the property. It's not developing the property. We don't know what the subdivision might look like at this point. Just going through the process. You actually have to have another public hearing in about a month before you can take action on the item. So it's for you to take any comments. We've had 2 or 3 written comments come into us. As I said, most of them were fairly neutral on the issue at this point. I know that there's representatives Mutton Hollow Water District here tonight, and like I said, we've heard from Layton City, Davis County, North Davis Sewer District have all submitted letters or talked to us on the phone. So that's the item for tonight, is to take comments from affected entities. There's no decision that needs to be made at this point.
So am I safe to assume that, so this red line here, this smaller one, not the bold one, I know that's Kaysville city limits. This is Layton city limits, correct?
I think it was at the time we put together the policy plan.
Uh-huh.
I know that Layton has annexed this little subdivision here.
They have, okay, all right.
And I believe they've taken this piece here in as well.
As well, all right.
So for the most part, our boundaries abut each other.
So okay, that's what I was.
Except that little
that's what
piece
I
up
was
at the
curious
top.
about, so.
And the green is what's already included.
That's
in
already
our-
included in the policy plan.
And then
yes.
the red, it's outside of it, right?
Right.
Currently is
Yeah.
outside.
That's correct.
So we don't have anything to even consider with respect to the green tonight. It's just the red.
No, green's already in the
Yeah.
plan.
Right.
And I have a question. In our report, it said something about Farmington. Was that a typo?
What that
Farmington?
was, that's the existing plan. And
From
based
past
on the
actions.
statute, you have to say why certain pieces were left out. And so that's the explanation from when that was reviewed previously. for a parcel down in this area somewhere.
Oh, I see.
I remember
That Farmington
Okay.
said they preferred to be in their city, and so that's I was confused when I read that too. But that's the existing plan, and that's the reason why a unincorporated developable piece adjacent to us was not included.
And what was the reason? Farmington?
Farmington wanted it more than we did.
Oh, okay. And so conversely, why was Layton not interested or hesitant?
Layton is hesitant because of their ability to provide water service that high up the mountain.
Okay. And we're not?
Frankly, we have the same concern.
Oh. So what's the downside to putting potential annexation pieces in the policy, the annexation plan?
Generically, there is no downside.
Just if it's a
It
waste
does
of
not
space.
obligate us
Yeah.
to provide, to annex it or provide services. Honestly, I think the real issue is that several years ago, there was a lot of argument between cities, particularly in Salt Lake County, in developed commercial areas over which city it would end up in. And so they've put this process in place to kind of alleviate that kind of discussion. And we're honored to get to abide by those rules.
Maybe overkill for the situation, but
I believe it
it's what
is.
it is. Okay.
So I've got a lot of questions on it too, but I guess we do the public hearing
Let's
first.
go ahead and do that first. So since we do have a public hearing attached to this, let's go ahead and open up things to the public here. If anybody wants to come forward and speak on this, if you could limit your comments to 3 minutes, and we'll go from there.
Maybe you should expand it to 4 minutes.
Or 3.5
Yeah.
minutes.
If we'd like to say anything, now's the time.
Good evening, I'm Frank Ferrante with the Button Hole Improvement District. I'm here to represent the district in regard to the Frost property. 1965, Jim Frost built a home up there, and he approached us for water. So he gave us a piece of land, we put a tank up there, which is still being used. So our concern is, what's going to happen to our tank? We need access to it after the annexation of Kaysville. That's basically our question.
Okay. And we're not going to have an answer for you with that this evening, so, okay, right.
We made a record of it that we had a piece of.
Sure.
We're concerned about the access to it.
Okay. All right, very good then. Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Chris Trujillo, and we're developing the Frost property, and really just wanted to see if you had any questions for us as the developers related to the
So which property you're developing?
all of the Frost estate property. So it's about 39 acres. It's right around Jim Frost's home.
Can you zoom in on those hatched area, Andy?
Is that
Or maybe
in
you're
this
pulling something up.
proposed
Better for
piece,
you.
or is it
Okay.
outside of it?
What's that?
Is that part
It's
of this
part of this
proposed piece?
proposed
Oh, I
piece.
thought we didn't have anybody that was proposing to develop at this point.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, at this point, it's rampant speculation at this point of,
This is the city boundary right here. The
we'd
property's
be
under
looking at that
consideration
right
as
there.
the Frost property,
Yes, right there.
is what they're looking to develop. The policy plan includes the Frost property, what used to be the Story property here with the other parcels right there.
okay. So is the Story property the rest of it? How many pieces of property and owners are involved in this parcel, or in this proposal?
It's this square area here.
Correct.
it looks
There's
like
a couple, two owners here,
two,
an owner
right.
here, the two Frost brothers. This square here is the Mutton Hollow water tank that was just referenced.
okay.
So is there, I'm assuming, there's easements for access to this water tank?
Currently, yeah.
I'm sure
So,
there is.
Yeah.
Just curious. Okay.
Then why would it be a problem?
What's that?
Then why is there a problem if they got an easement?
Yeah, there isn't one.
And I wondered how I tried to go look at this. I couldn't figure out how to get there.
Just east of 89, if you know where Tanglewood is.
Yes.
And then just to the south of that is this Bromsfield development where there's homes right there. And then the Frost property is right next to it.
There's also a
Big
stub
field.
right
There's
here.
kind of a farm.
Yeah, there is.
So what's the turn off? The Tanglewood subdivision is where you get off of 89 to go up here?
You turn off.
You have an aerial
Pointer I can
image?
show you.
I'm trying to get the aerial turned on.
What's the road name?
That's Mutton Hollow right there,
But Mutton Hollow is on the west.
on the left.
This is Mutton Hollow.
Yeah, that's Mutton Hollow.
So, yeah. I was just really curious about current access to look at it. So this is 89?
Yeah.
So that's up to 89. So it's right next to 89.
Yeah.
Okay. And I wondered that.
There really is no good access to the back. This is a dirt lane driveway that accesses these couple homes and the orchard here.
And there's
I think, I'm not even sure how the Frost access their property.
Okay.
cross access. Let's see,
Down the same lane.
Does this work?
Just push the red button.
Red button.
So as you're doing that, who are the petitioners for this, Andy? Who's actually bringing this forward? Is it them?
They're bringing it under contract on the property. We have a, well.
So
we can't-
you are the petitioner then. So how are the other property owners, the Lelands, Lewises?
We have a,
We heard from the Stories,
yes.
the Starnes,
They're part of his option, I'm guessing.
the rest of the
Again,
property owners.
At
are
this
they
point,
part of it,
we're
or-
amending the annexation policy plan. They actually have prepared a petition for annexation that will meet the criteria, verify that there's adequate number of property owners within the annexation area and meet the state law that way. But at this point, it's just to amend that plan to even consider and accept that petition.
Okay.
Right.
But what I guess I'm asking is, do the others property owners, are they part of the petition yet or not? And are they?
The
what
Stories
their-
are, the Frosts are. I don't recall if the
Ekstrom's.
Ekstrom,
Ekstrom's right there. They are.
Hidden Splendor.
Hidden Splendor.
Hidden Splendor, that's
Those two.
Don Peterson. They're not, I mean, they would be part of the annexation, but they haven't signed our petition yet. We're still meeting with them. And
So are they the only ones that are within this boundary that haven't signed the petition or haven't agreed to it yet?
Starnes haven't either.
Okay.
There.
Do you anticipate any resistance from them, or you think that they're going to be on board?
They're probably the ones, the Starnes are the ones that we're still working with, where we would have where there would be potential for opposition.
Okay. All right. Then I do have a follow-up with Layton City. Did you just talk with Layton, or did you actually go and petition Layton and go through the process with them?
Just informal discussions.
Okay.
So, Andy, just clarification. The only people that even got notice of this meeting, unless they're super zealous fans of the Planning Commission, are, quote, affected entities, which are not affected property owners.
That is correct.
necessarily. Right.
The actual public hearing in the next step of the process, the affected property owners within
Will
the
actually
proposed
come
boundary
forward.
area get the official notice. But this was only
This is
notice to
a
affected entities.
Public hearing, then.
And, I mean, affected entities, I think you already said it, I'm just looking at the state code, are counties, local districts, like you said, school district, or a municipality within half a mile of proposed annexation. So that's only a handful of entities, and we've heard from all of them. Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily all of them.
Okay.
We've not heard from the school district. We haven't heard from Weaver Basin Water.
But there weren't
Typically,
any-
this has no impact to how they function, whether the the properties within one city or another or none.
So they got notice of it, but the
They
fact
got
that they
notice
didn't
but have
respond
not responded.
implies to me that they don't really care much.
Yeah, well, that's fairly typical of those types of entities.
Right. So there may be lots of things that we're concerned about, that the city's concerned about, on, but that's not really our purview, within our purview right now.
No, this evening, that's not it. Right, okay.
So then the other criteria that we have dealing with how it's going to impact them, because I'm questions I have too are the services, from both utilities, the infrastructure, public safety, tax revenue versus expenses.
At the actual annexation,
Yeah.
those things have to be considered.
So that's not for discussion tonight then?
No. That's the
But
plan
the-
that says when you consider annexation, we'll consider these
Yeah.
items.
Yeah.
I guess, has any of that even been evaluated yet, the cost-benefit analysis of this yet?
We haven't done a cost benefit. We've looked at some of the options of how to provide services, but that's about as just general looking as all we've done at this point.
So this is very preliminary at this point.
Yes.
It's like preparing to start the process.
Whether to
Right.
consider it.
Yeah.
Just to take the comment from those affected entities and include those in your thought process.
Okay.
Have we received all
I
the
think we're good.
Okay.
comments?
I guess from a public works standpoint, bringing services, would we have to cross 89, or do we already have sufficient services, water, sewer, gas, electricity? Is that stuff already crossed where we can tie in from, or would we have to bring more
We're
services over?
serving these residents in this area with all those facilities. We have a water tank that sits right here that serves the lower 2/3 of the property, or could serve that. So yes, we do have utilities east of 89.
Okay.
We have some homes on the east of 89?
We have
Yes.
homes on the east of 89 that are within Kaysville City that we serve. The
20 or
subdivision
so.
here, half a dozen homes, and then the old Talbot farm that has 3 or 4 homes on it as well.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. It's actually Fruit Heights that has the weird boundaries
Yeah.
down to Main Street.
I knew they did.
Okay. Well, so I guess that's as far as we need to take things this
I
evening
think-
then. So, thank you for the public input. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for these. Can we keep these? Can I put it on my refrigerator? I'm
Kids
joking.
have to color in the outside.
Yeah,
though.
Shrink it?
Hey, look what I got.
Put
No,
my
I'm
wallet.
joking. Right, okay. Well, we got a month from now, we'll reconvene on this then, so. So there's no up-down vote or
No
anything like
actions
that?
required tonight.
Okay, all right, very good then. Was there anything else? Do we have anything else? Or are we probably pretty good on that, right? With that said, we'll move to agenda item number 5, which is our call to the public. Anyone here wish to say anything?
Oh, they do. Look at that, they're standing up. No.
Oh, they're bolting for the door.
I would say bolting.
Okay, we will close the call to the public then. And other matters that come before us, reports, correspondence, calendar, probably looking at our next meeting on the 28th of September, correct?
I have a couple quick things. There was someone who was going to come tonight. She reached out to me because her family knows I'm on the planning commission, and I said this would be a good place to come and ask during the call to the public. But I don't know, maybe she ended up with a conflict. But a resident of Kaysville who already has a couple of dogs and is looking to become a business that can breed dogs, maybe even train dogs, something like that. And I think she's been in conversation with Lyle already because she lives in a part of Kaysville. I'm not exactly sure where she lives, but a place where the size of her property is conducive to this. I think it's one of the half-acre type places. anyway, I think she thought that her barrier was the ordinance to only have 2 animals on a property. But anyway.
We have provisions for a kennel,
Uh-huh.
which allows more than 2 dogs,
Mhm.
particularly for breeding and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it does have some size requirements on it.
Yeah. And I was thinking that we probably should be more cut and dry than what she was describing to me.
It's pretty cut and dried, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe Lyle
Maybe
gave
she
her
was
those
confused.
answers, and that's why she's not here.
Maybe, yeah, maybe she was a little bit confused still. Okay, great. So I wanted to understand that in case she calls me again. And then, hey, I was just at the Utah League of Cities and Towns conference, and today was Planner Day, and apparently there's like this big movement to do more of what we've done some already, to be the body that reviews the code, the land use code especially, and that we look to transferring as much as we can to staff and take away as much as we can from city council. It was pretty interesting. There was quite a nice training where they talked about that a lot of the cities over all of Utah have things that are quite old and need updating, and that if we're not continuously updating some of the old stuff, that we are kind of at risk and vulnerable to developers' whims, I guess, is the thing. So anyway, I thought it was interesting. I will say we have more than one planner they work as planners. They live in Kaysville. They planners for other cities, counties, and so they have suggestions. Utah League of Cities and Towns suggests just a quick check of your land use ordinance in the following 5 areas would go a very long way. These are the 5 areas. One is conditional use, and we've kind of talked about that a little bit. The next one is exaction, which is an interesting term. I'd never even heard of it before.
That's what you make developers give us when they develop their property, such as building the road, building the water lines.
Okay.
Or you get into shady areas is making them donate land for parks or trails. You have to make sure your ordinance specifies what's what and what you can take and what you can't take from them.
Okay.
That gets into the realm of unconstitutional takings. If you take too much, if it's not proportional to what the impact of this development is going to give or put onto the municipality, and the exaction is too far, it could be a taking anyway.
Okay. Yeah, they talked a lot about property rights before this discussion. So yeah, gets very constitutional. The third one is vested rights. So that's a thing. I didn't
For
understand.
example, we just approved a preliminary plat. He now has vested rights to build a subdivision that looks like that,
Uh-huh.
as long as he can show that all the engineering works.
Okay.
Which
Certain
means we
points
can't
you
change stuff later.
get
Okay.
rights that are vested.
And one area
Makes sense.
where citizens like to think they have vested rights is with zoning that exists when they move into their property,
Right.
and that is not a vested right.
Yeah, that makes sense. The fourth one, they say it takes a good thing to check, is your non-conforming use and a non-complying structure ordinance. And then the fifth one are the building permit and impact fees. I know there's been a little bit of discussion about that in our city. So it was very interesting. They said that, and they're talking about it to all the cities in all the state, 260 something. So I don't know how recently our things have been reviewed, but the thing that I thought was interesting was that they said that this is what all cities should be using their planning commission for, is to take time to go through these regularly and to make sure as new statutes are passed for those state law, that we are always bringing ours up to speed with things that the legislature has done. They gave a pretty significant warning. They said that and I've heard this from our mayor and other people say that more and more the legislature is starting to discuss bills that that control what cities can do. And so our ombudsman, the state ombudsman, who's trained here before our commission, he said, I will tell you that will continue to happen, but will stop happening when cities are very current with their ordinances, which made a lot of sense to me. So anyway, we haven't reviewed a lot of things since I've been on. We update our general plan, but I don't regularly go back and read all the other existing stuff and to see what makes sense. One thing that Wilf Summercorn said that's a kind of a recent law is that there has to be wording in your ordinances that is completely clear to the lay person. He said that if it is not completely clear to the lay person, if two different people can take away different meanings from your ordinance, then if there ever comes to be a conflict between the city and the property owner, that it will be the property owner that will be able to have their way go. That makes sense. My wording is very lay here.
And for the record, there's very few, Josh, maybe you'll have a different opinion, but there's very few statutes or ordinances that are not open to more than one interpretation. If there were, we would be out of
One
Have
of us would
jobs.
have-
Yeah. I think both of us would be out of
Yeah, right.
That's why there's so many bills on up on the Hill. Is most of those bills are amending existing law because somebody brings something up, or when they passed it, they didn't see things. We have some really good legislators that are pretty good at protecting a lot of those rights too. And I spend about half my time during the legislative session up there, and I see some people fight, to help keep rights in the cities, and I'm seeing more with cities passing things that are becoming strict mandates and different things like that. But you've got, especially the freshmen when they come in, they always try to. They're the ones that are always running all the bills, but most of them, unfortunately, don't go anywhere.
I would say, as a general rule, that I would guess that while state statutes are not perfect by any means, there are probably far more ambiguities and inconsistencies at the local level on a municipal level than there are at a state level. But
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
which means
too.
there's more work, technically speaking, to kind of what Lorraine's saying.
That's
should
what they're
be probably
saying.
more work
They
to do.
they said it's a lot of work. I mean, and there were other cities that have started this, maybe some of the smaller and more rural cities who say, yeah, we've been working on this. It takes a lot of time, they say. A lot of time, a lot of work, and instead of things getting shorter, more is added so that it is more clear. So, anyway.
Yeah, Josh, if you'd get rid of those ambiguities in the state code, it'd be a lot easier to write the local code.
That's true. Spoken like a true city champion, right?
They were sent to you on email. Did you get them?
I don't know, is it Andy or Josh running for state senate now?
All right.
Kind of a follow-up. I won't be here on the 28th at our next meeting. I will be out of town. What's that?
Right.
I'm
Tom was, well, we
the
already knew
same
Tom's.
problem that I try to make it in time, but
You
I
were,
made it today.
It's football
you did well
season.
today.
I just barely missed beating.
I beat him.
I know.
I beat him in.
Lots of rezones, right?
Only because I was being
it's
timid on the crossing to Main Street.
I'd already seen my way clear.
Do we anticipate them being as controversial as some of our more recent rezones?
I don't know. We haven't had a lot of public outcry on them.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are probably general plan and that kind of stuff issues that that will be more apparent on these ones.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, so. Okay.
Are we okay with the quorum now?
I think well, Lorraine will be here, I'll be here.
I'll be
Josh
here.
will
And Betty,
Betty.
as far as we
Send me
know.
a
It'll
text or
depend on
email
Betty.
if you like want me to come late or what, you know.
If it gets
All right.
close, we'll check with you like we did today.
Okay. All right, good enough. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Adjourn. A motion,
Awesome.
a move. So
Thanks.
we adjourn.
Done.
Excellent.
Oh, I choose in this drawer and I didn't take it.